I assume you're going to start?
It's up to you. Well, I did last time. What's up, guys? We're going to do another stream today, right now, and every week now. So we got it all planned out. We're going to be continuing doing this because baseball's fun to talk about, and we have the time. So what shall we talk about first?
Oh, man, there's so many things that just happened in the past week for baseball. I feel like that first round of playoffs just went so fast.
It was upsetting how fast it went.
Yeah, with the best of 3 series, games were for example, the Dodgers, boom, done in 2.
Yeah.
It was crazy fast.
Well, I personally didn't even expect half those series to go in 2. We did betting, actually. And
I won.
Yeah, you won. We'll talk about it a little more, but the betting was very sad because I didn't think very many teams would win in just 2 games, where in the end, a majority of them did.
Whereas I thought they would.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start with that. We'll start talking about how our betting went. So our first round was we would get points. A point if you got the right team, a point if you got the right number of games. So for a max of 2 for each series, so you could get 16 points. Forecast ahead, he won 9. I only had 4. It was very messed up.
Oh yeah.
So for our first series, we had with the Rays and the Jays. I thought that the Jays might win in 3. I thought it was a lucky kind of thing. I thought maybe they'll have a chance, maybe they'll win 1 or 2, and at the very least, if the Rays won in 3, I would get a point.
Yeah, we're being a little biased for the Jays. We were a bit hopeful and optimistic that they would pull through and actually win. But I mean, since I had Jays in 2, thinking I was very, very optimistic that they were going to win. I got 1 point because Rays 1 and 2, so. That 2 really helped me out there.
Yeah, it definitely did help. But now we know how flawed it is, and we will explain later how we're doing the next series, because that showed really how flawed it was and how we didn't do betting right, for sure.
Yeah, no, we have a new point system for the next round, which we'll explain in a few minutes.
The second series was the Athletics versus the White Sox. We both thought it would – or no, actually, I was the only one that thought it was 3 games. He thought it was 2. I was very happy with myself because it was one of the 3-game series. So I ended up getting those points. And the White Sox were winning up until I think it was one of the last 3 or 4 innings.
Yep.
And then they just collapsed and lost. So we each ended up getting a point because I bet White Sox in 3. He bet A's in 2.
Which is surprising because I looked through a lot of reviews online and a lot of expert and insiders had the White Sox winning. And, it didn't surprise me at all. The White Sox were a solid team throughout the year. I don't think 7th really resembles their skill.
No, not at all.
At all. They took the A's. Typically, if you look at a ranking at 7-2, 2 should in theory blow to 7. It's when you get the 3v6 or the 4v5 where it's starting to get close. I think that with the 2v7, I think that's one of the closest 2v7 series we'll have probably all postseason.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest reasons for that was how they decided to do the 1 through 8.
Yeah.
Because what they should have done was, even though that they're in the breakup between the AL Central, West, and East, they should have just made it that the 8 best teams as a whole got the 1st through 8 seeds.
Right.
Rather than the 1 through 3 is the best from each division, ranking
and then the wild card.
Yeah, and then the same thing for the 4 to 6. It wasn't a good way to do it.
Right. The wild card should be the last few teams struggling to get in, whereas you're having teams that have better records than the wild card are ranked lower, which is how?
Yeah, it didn't make a whole lot of sense, especially because there was 3 amazing teams in the Central, which is another thing we'll have to talk about afterwards. But there was 3 amazing teams. They were all within maybe, I think, 2 games of each other. They all had fantastic seasons. And yet they, specifically the White Sox, they got the 7 seed where, they were better than, and this is another part to it. The Astros were the 6 seed, but they were worse than the 8 seed Jays by, I think it was 3 games.
Yeah.
The 7 seed was up above them by 5 games, which was the White Sox.
Right. So honestly, they probably have to scramble it up based on the records. I don't think that, that's sports though. You look in the NFL where that happens too, not directly, because you can have, I take the NFC, for example, whereas Dallas and all them, they're usually pretty bad teams. No offense to you Cowboys fans. And you'll see them like getting in with like barely 500 records, whereas like there's teams in the wild card that are fighting it out, being well above. I don't know. I think that the wild card is good when done correctly. I don't think it was executed properly here, though.
No, they obviously, if they want to continue doing the 16 playoff series, they need to tweak it greatly.
For sure.
So the next series was the 3-6 Twins and Astros. We both thought the Twins would win. That one felt.
Yeah.
That series was disappointing.
Definitely had their buzzers out for that game or something. Not
yeah,
sure what happened.
Yeah, it was very disappointing. And then Correa saying what he did was very dumb.
Yeah.
He's, they didn't prove anything. Nothing at all,
No, for a team that barely snuck into the playoffs, coming off of, a World Series a couple years back too, as well. It's like, your team hasn't changed like that much, with the exception of like, Giles leaving and some other key players. Like going in and losing first round in a playoffs that's expanded, that's not showing anything at all. If anything, you should be like, that's almost confirming the World Series. They didn't deserve to win it, right? I don't think Correa was really in the right to say what he said.
Yeah, it was a disappointing series, and honestly, I watched all the playoff games that were played so far, and those two games were easily the least fun to watch.
For sure. I
enjoyed so many other games, some I'll explain a bit later, that they were genuinely some of the best games I've watched all year. So Noah bet in 2, which he got a point because it was in 2.
I really abused the 2 throughout this playoffs, and it came in clutch.
He did. He got a point in almost every single series. I think there was only one series he didn't, and it was in the NL. I'll explain that one after. So then the last one in the AL was the Indians and the Yankees. I bet the Indians, he bet the Yankees. That was the only one where we both thought that it would go to 3, because that felt like it should have been one of the toughest series to match up. Not just because they're the 4 and 5, but because they genuinely were both great teams.
They were both so even. I felt that it was like, looking for player, both teams had very strong points and very weak points. I think that, even though they are 4 and 5 and they are technically supposed to be the closest together, I think that's really one of the only series we really disagreed on. Like, it was tough to pick the winner. It was more of a gut feeling trying to pick,
for sure.
Whereas there's a statistical analysis to it. I don't know. That series is weird. We'll see what the Yankees do deep. I don't know if they have the depth to really excel throughout this playoffs.
I don't think so either. Their pitching isn't strong enough.
No.
Like Cole showed up, which was very good for them, obviously, because that was one of the biggest worries I had. Was not that he struggled all year, but he didn't do nearly to the level that he paid for.
No, his contract does not reflect his skill throughout this year. Yes, he was consistent, I would say, throughout the year, but
not consistently great.
No,
I wouldn't say that.
No, he was consistently good pitcher. Some slips here, but then he had some like highlight performances. I thought in this first round of playoffs he did pitch good.
He did.
He definitely was living up to a bit of the hype there.
Yeah.
But for them, he's locked up for a while and he's making some serious money. Good for him. I think for us, the postseason, if the Yankees want to go deep, Garrett Cole really needs to show up.
Oh yeah, and I gotta say, I'm extremely upset about how Bieber just blew up. That was very, very upsetting. I had it fully prepared that he was going to dominate them. That the matchup between Bieber and Cole, it was going to be Bieber. He had a fantastic year, and then I guess kind of like some of the great pitchers like Kershaw. But that's not the same as this year.
No, Kershaw played good this year.
He did. But like every other year, he kind of choked.
Yeah. With a pitcher that's full of injuries, it's hard. The postseason is a whole new level. What happens throughout the year, even though there's a shortened season this year, and I bet for some players it still feels like a regular season. It's probably hard to make that adjustment. It happens so quick. Not to mention this first round went by so fast.
Yeah.
These players are having I assume probably a tough time adjusting. So, these pitchers, they got to put on their postseason mindset here. And, it's do or die. Like, these series are short. You have one bad outing and, you're screwed.
And one thing I do want to note is that I think the idea that the higher seed won all the – or I think it's the higher seed anyway – won all of the home games that definitely made a difference, I think, because, you had the Rays with the home game. The Jays have been historically bad at Tropicana Field. They've never been good. the Athletics, I'm pretty sure it was at the A's Coliseum.
Mhm.
Pretty sure. They won. I feel like the Astros. I don't know why I'm pretty sure they played in Minnesota, but it felt like they played in Houston. Whenever I keep thinking about it, I keep thinking they won or played there.
Baseball is the only sport where home field advantage is not just about the fans.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No way, because we look at hockey, the rink's the same dimensions. Football, the yard lines, 100 yards deep. Soccer, same. Basketball, same. It's all the same except for baseball. You got like different you got your distances, wall heights, even simple things like your dugout style, where your bullpen is. In Tropicana Field, it's one of those fields where you got your bullpen at the side where like the foul ball boy is usually at. Just like weird things like that, especially with such a mental game like baseball. I don't think the fans actually play as big of a factor than a lot of people think. It's the
I really
stadium.
don't think so. Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that. And you could kind of see it in some series that we'll talk about now. For example, the Braves versus the Reds. Kind of skipping over a series there, but we'll talk about this one first. I fully expected the Reds to actually have a very good fighting chance. And the first game really, really showed that. Their pitching is fantastic. I think I would argue to say the Reds have the best pitching in National League. I would argue to say that. Different teams have different parts of their pitching is fantastic. Like the Brewers have easily the best bullpen
for sure.
The Dodgers have a great starter.
Their rotation is really good.
Yeah, it's super dominant. But the Reds, I think they got it all around. Their batting is just a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, if you'll notice a common trend, we're big on consistency. Consistency wins games. You don't need to blow out a team or pitch, a 0-run game to win. If you're consistently good from top to bottom of the order, your pitcher, your starter can come in. Say you only throw 6 innings. If you got consistently good relievers, you put in 2 relievers, and then you have your closer coming in for maybe inning and a half. It's all about consistency. You can have your lights out pitchers, but at the end of the day, they're only good for one game, especially as a starter. Whereas you're going to have 3 or 4 more people pitch before he pitches again. So unless you have a solid core of pitchers that are all around consistent, you're not going to win ball games.
Yeah, exactly. I made a comment on Twitter where a guy was talking trash about Hyunjin Ryu, which I get it. People don't really like him that much. He's only really had last year and this year where he showed dominance, and they're like, he's a 3 pitcher, he's definitely not an ace, things like that. The Jays don't need an ace. No team really needs an ace. It's great to have one, but I think in reality, like you said, consistency. If you have like 3 or 4 2s or 3 or 5 3s, that's perfectly fine. You just don't want to have your first 2 or your first 3 pitchers be average to above average, and then your last 2 be crap.
Yeah, it's the total Billy Bean Moneyball kind of mindset there, where you don't need these insane players. You take all these stats and you can condense them into honestly, it's still a money game. The Yankees and Dodgers, it seems like they have infinite money,
which is crazy to think because I looked at the Dodgers payroll not that long ago. They're not even paying that much.
They're smart with their money.
They are extremely smart because a lot of their guys are on either veteran contracts or they're on the rookie contracts. Bellinger's on his rookie contract. He's got 5 more years. 4 or 5, something like that. Walker Buehler's on his rookie contract. Some of the best players. The only people they're really paying money for is Jansen, Kershaw, and they're not even paying that much. And then Betts, obviously, but
yeah, they paid up for him.
He's more than worth it
for sure. You're gonna have. We're not saying that you can't just not pay for big players, because without a big player, you're just gonna be mediocrely good. You need that guy to take a stance. That 1-run ball game. That 3-2 count. It's really gonna execute under pressure. And that's when you do pay up for those Mookie Betts, those Mike Trout type players. But the core of your team needs to be consistently good to back up those players, so they aren't worn out.
And that's why we see the Angels be as bad as they are.
Yeah, they have Justin Upton and literally Albert Pujols. They're
soaking up money.
Yeah, they're just draining their funds. With the recent departure of Simmons, that'll free up a little bit. If you're going to re-sign some of these players, it's where is your team going?
Well, I think Pujols is done either this year or next year.
Yeah, he's ancient. I'd hope so.
Well, you know what? He's a Hall of Famer. I'm not gonna take that away from him. He was fantastic. Just they shouldn't have paid for that much. They should have known he would have regressed.
Yeah, every big player, especially with that position, you look at David Ortiz and like some of those bigger type players. Usually their peak careers are short. But I found with David Ortiz, he did last a lot longer than I think a lot of people expected him to.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But with a player like Pujols, whose pretty much job is to just hit home runs and hit the ball deep, just a little bit goes off to him, his career's done, because it's not like he can make it up in his speed, or his fielding, or any of these other key aspects where a lot of players, they struggle unless they excel in another. His main key is to hit bombs.
Yeah,
if you can't do that, and
exactly.
You're kind of useless.
So back to the betting. So we were talking about the Braves and Reds. We never actually said what we bet. We both thought it would also go to 3 games. This one felt like a 3-game series. It wasn't, which sucks.
Yeah.
And again, it was another series where I did terrible. I bet Reds in 3. He bet Braves. Braves won.
Yep.
Now, this was actually, we'll talk about the Dodgers and Brewers. This was the only one that one of us got both correct. Obviously, that was him because I did terrible. He gets the Dodgers in 2, although had I been able to choose first, I would have also chose Dodgers in 2, but I had no choice because he chose it first.
Right.
So I had to pick Dodgers in 3. Brewers stood no chance. I'm sorry, Brewers. Yelich has been terrible all season. And then you had the news that Devin Williams, he got injured. I don't know if it was during Game 1 or if it was just before Game 1. I can't remember, but he got injured, so he couldn't play Game 2. So that, not that it really mattered.
Right. And then with the whole format of our pickings was one person would go first, pick theirs, and then the other person is not allowed to repeat. So where I picked the Dodgers in 2, I knew Christian wanted Dodgers in 2. I think that was the first series I picked too.
Yeah, it was.
It was a given. Brewers, you need a lot of work. You can't. Yelich is an unbelievably good player when he's playing good. Last year, excellent season he had last year.
Oh, for sure.
This year,
not as much.
It's just garbage.
It's crazy how bad he was this year, and it's not saying that he's a bad player because he genuinely the way he transformed from Miami to Milwaukee. You don't see players doing that.
No,
that kind of transformation is incredible.
Especially with Miami. I feel like any player that leaves Miami just instantly downhill career. Like Giancarlo Stanton.
He
is a Miami player.
Oh, for sure.
I will only see him in a Miami uniform. You know, the Yankees. I think they ruined his career. That is also from a bias that we hate. I hate the Yankees, at least.
I don't hate the Yankees. I just think that they have money, which makes it unfair. Although I'm perfectly fine with that because they haven't made the World Series in 10 years, so suck it.
Yeah, for all you Yankees fans out there, get off the bandwagon. Pick an actual team that you're not just following for Aaron Judge or Giancarlo Stanton or just literally any of your insane players.
They're great, but they're too injured.
It's
too much.
Like, I don't remember any time where their whole team was like healthy because you go back a few years when you had Derek Jeter and A-Rod and like CC Sabathia. CC Sabathia went off because of his pine tar incident with the ball.
Yeah.
A-Rod was like doping or whatever, and then Derek Jeter,
he aged.
Yeah, he just got old. So Yankees, you're just paying money for nobody to play. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, and like even the past couple of years, they've had so many injuries. Last year was extremely injury ridden.
I don't remember seeing Judge or Stanton playing ever.
I can remember it was the funniest thing. Stanton played a few games at the beginning of the season last year, and then he got injured, and then he came back during the Jays series. It was a fun series to watch because he played one game. Halfway through the game, he got injured after he hit a home run.
Yeah,
and then he didn't play for the rest of the season. So he played I don't know, I think it was 20 games.
Yeah. Come
on, and you're paying him supersized money.
Yeah, it's like you're paying players to play for. I find baseball is like the team's never healthy. You look at the Jays this year. You look at the injury. Like Teoscar's injured. Giles went down at the beginning of the season. Bichette was injured. The list goes on and on and on. And baseball is not like a serious contact sport. Like it's all Tommy John. But Tommy John's pitcher related, anyways.
And then there's strains, sprains.
Yeah, it's like you're going up, swinging the bat, and it's like, oh, I'd like to see these players in any sort of contact sport.
Oh, they wouldn't.
It's like soccer almost. It's probably worse. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what kills me about baseball is the minor injuries that go way too long.
Oh, for sure.
It just kills it. But anyways, back to our bracket.
We keep going off on tangents. Oh, well. So we got the Cubs and Marlins. This one was definitely one of the biggest shocks. But you know what? I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Good for Miami.
Yeah, they did fantastic. We both bet Cubs. We bet Cubs. Yep. This was the series. He lost all points because I bet Cubs in 2, so I got 2 points. He bet Cubs in 3. Didn't get any.
All right, rub that in more, I guess.
Yeah, I will rub it in all the way.
Your 4 points. All right.
Woohoo, 4 points.
Start counting them.
Oh, yes, I will on one hand. Yeah, it was a fantastic series. Sixto looked great. Darvish looked great until they left him in just a little too long.
Yeah.
You could see he was starting to get worn down, so I don't know why they didn't pull him. David Ross, I understand why he wanted him to continue, but it wasn't really a smart idea. I guess it's just they didn't want to use their bullpen because they don't have a fantastic bullpen. And then the final series was the Padres and Cardinals. Neither of us thought the Cardinals would win. They didn't win.
No.
But it was a fantastic series to watch. It was the second game. It was like, what was it? It was 11-9 for the Padres, but it was a fantastic game to watch. Easily the best one so far. You got 2 home runs from Tatis Jr. You got 2 from who was it? Was it Grisham? No. Myers.
Yeah.
Will Myers. And then you had one from Machado. And
Machado's bomb, that was kind of a clutch hit, It was really needed to set the tone for the rest of the game. I thought Tatis played amazing.
It was a fantastic game for him.
He just kind of proved to everyone that he's legit. He's a legit player. He's coming into the league. And young guy. Was he in contention for Rookie of the Year, I believe?
No, that was last year.
Okay, so what is he in for
this year? He's in contention for the MVP. It's between him and Freeman. I don't think he'll win it because Freeman was a little more consistent.
Yeah, Freeman was batting, I think, 341 this year.
Yeah,
the season because he just came up short of the NL batting title. Who went to Juan Soto. He was batting like 350, I think, something like that.
Yeah, 350, 360, somewhere around there. Couldn't be bothered to remember that number.
No.
But yeah, it was definitely a fantastic year for him. One of the things that I thought was I originally worried about him because I didn't think he was going to be fantastic just because his bat was there. That was known from the start, Yeah. I mean, he's got a dad who hit 2 grand slams in an inning. Come on. He's got to have a good bat. So, but I was always worried about his fielding. His fielding was a worry that I had from the start just because it was put in my head. I watched a video where they were talking about how he makes great hard plays. So, you got those like 5% chance plays where, not very many typical players would be able to reach it, and he makes it, but then he can't do those plays that are like 80, 90% that most players should be able to do. He was struggling and making errors for no reason.
Yeah, it's not like a broken record. Consistency is key.
Oh, yes. I guess that should be, the title, just consistency.
Just consistency, yeah.
Yeah. But, so he bet the Padres in 3. So the top 2 in the NL West, he gets 2 points for each. He was very right on that. I guessed in 2 because I thought the Padres were fantastic. But then the Cardinals went and won game 1. I think
that was a shock to a lot of people. The Cardinals are a solid team. At the beginning of the year, they had some COVID issues. I think what were they? The only team to really get shut down for quite a while.
It was them and the Marlins.
Them and the Marlins. Well, Marlins. Florida. Okay, that makes sense. But Missouri, St. Louis, I don't know. It's kind of a weird spot to have it. But I mean, they had some issues. The battle back. I was surprised they won game 1. Good for them. I really like the Cardinals. I think they have a great history.
Oh yeah, for sure. I am so sad. I don't know if you saw Bob Gibson died yesterday.
Yeah.
I loved Bob Gibson. I watched a bunch of old documentaries on him. I watched a bunch of his old games, grainy ass footage. But he was genuinely fun to and even just looking at his, his records and all that kind of stuff. He was a fantastic player.
For sure.
And now he's gone. The Cardinals have lost so many greats in the past. They lost Lou Brock. They lost Bob Gibson. Who's next? I don't want to think about it.
No. Back to the Dodgers though. Did you see the highlight? Kershaw. I think would he walk a guy or a guy got a single? I forget who it was. or I forget what happened. Then the manager was calling into the bullpen. Kershaw was like waving him off. He's like, no. I'm not going down yet. Comes back, and I think he puts like 2 strikeouts, ends the inning, and he's just laughing. He's like, yeah, they're not pulling me out yet. I'm playoff. He's back.
Oh, he's back. He had 14 strikeouts. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
He was. Oh man, I hope this is the year that everybody just shuts up about him, because I don't get why people are like, oh, because he's bad in the postseason, he's not as good as people think he is, because he is good. And he's
amazing.
He's easily the best pitcher of this generation.
What pitcher doesn't struggle? Like, name a pitcher who's been consistent the whole way through, who's just clutch. You know, I look back when we got David Price off of what was it, the Tigers, the Red Sox.
No, it was Tigers.
Then he went to the Red Sox, right? You know, when we got David Price, you know, he pitched one. His opening game was unbelievable, and then he was garbage for us. Like, he was just useless, you know. And then people will still think, oh yeah, David Price was an excellent pickup. It's like, he had one good game.
Yeah.
Like, you're useless. Like, you just cost us games by the end of it. Every pitcher struggles. Kershaw, you know, postseason has not been your specialty, and that's where you need to be good. I think you really turned some heads.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. He definitely did a great job with that game, though. That was great to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna go into our betting for this next round of series. So they're best of 5s. We got in the ALDS, we got the Rays versus Yankees. We got the Athletics versus Astros, and then we got in the NLDS, we got the Dodgers versus Padres, and the Braves versus Marlins. First thing I want to set up with all this, there were 7 teams out of the 16 in the playoffs that were from the Central divisions on the American League and National League. None of them got in. None of them. The only team that wasn't a Central team that didn't make it was the Jays. But so now every single playoff series is an in-division kind of in-house thing. You know, you got in the ALDS, you got the American League East versus American League East, American League West versus American League West, and then the same thing in the
Central's just not making a presence this year.
Yeah, not at all. And I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that even with that happening, that none of the series is like a NL West versus NL East or something. It's
right. East, West. Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Which makes it exciting because that means they've all played each other 10 times already.
Right.
Rather than being...
There is some history coming into these games. And
for sure.
I think you're going to see some, like, you know, you go back to Correa and what he said, and, you know, you kind of seeing the evolution of, like, a type of bat flip, you know, the selfies that they were taking. I think you really see something change, especially with the amount of emotion these teams have built up all year. They haven't had a chance to really discover other teams. It's like they've played each other so much this year. 1/6 of their games have been against each other. So I think
the great thing here too is that 3 of those series they've had, or 3 of the matchups they've had strong tension. As strong as the A's and the Astros.
Yeah.
When, you know, Laureano charged at I don't know what his name was, Citron or something. Yeah. Cintron, I don't know, something like that. Anyway, he that it'll be exciting to see with all the tension of all these series. The only one that doesn't really have it is the Braves and the Marlins. That one that one's gonna feel fun because you know you got Acuna and then you got the Marlins are just a fun team to watch as well.
For sure. The point we're changing. Okay, so we changed up the points a lot this series because we found with the last series it was very much so 50-50, and that picking a team is much harder than getting lucky on the number. Where you know I kind of won, but like I had a lot of teams. So for this series, we're gonna do 5 points if you pick the team right, and then we've kind of mixed it up. We've kind of really complicated it.
And don't worry if it gets confusing because it was confusing for like 20 minutes for me.
Yeah, we think we have it now. So we're gonna do 5 points for the team, and then if you get the series number dead on, you get 4 points. Since this is best of 5, the max you can be out is 2 games. Because obviously you're not going to pick a team that win in 2 because they need to win 3.
Or like in 6 or something, you know.
Yeah, it's best of 5. Yeah. So 5 points for the team, 4 points if you're dead on. So say the Rays win in 4, and you pick Rays in 4, you get 9 points because you're dead on. 2 points if you're one off. So say you get the team right, and then you know you're 1 game off. Say you had in 4 and it actually happens in 5, you get 2 points, and then 1 point if you're 2 games off. So say you guessed in 3, but it actually happened in 5, or vice versa. You get 1 point. That's really confusing. We're in the same boat. We're just going to go with it.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure it out. So The max points you can get is 36 because there's 4 series and
by 9.
Yeah, you can get by 9. Definitely not going to happen. Neither of us are getting 36.
If I break 20, I think I'll be happy. Even 15, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I was very impressed that he got more than half the points available in the first round. I got a quarter. So, but that was just because I for some reason, all the teams that I chose decided to suck.
That's okay.
Yeah, tears.
Since you lost, benefit of, the loser, I'll let you go first.
Oh, thank you. Oh, and we must also mention 2 different things before we start.
Sure.
What the prizes were. So last round, the prize was that
coffee for a month. It is awesome.
Yeah,
coffee for the first one right here.
Yeah, coffee for a month. In the next 4 podcasts, she's getting one every single time. And then this time it'll be, I believe we decided it was the shot glasses.
I think so.
We decided.
I believe so.
We're not doing anything expensive. It's not like we're
university kids. We don't have money.
we're broke students.
Yeah.
But we decided on the MLB shop or Fanatics, whichever one you'd rather use.
Any of these MLB websites that are licensed, whatever.
They got shot glasses for $4 or $5 each, and what we were going to do is whoever gets the most points will get the 4 shot glasses of the 4 teams that won.
Yeah.
So say the Rays, Astros, Dodgers, and Marlins, whatever. Something like that. Obviously.
Marlins, eh?
Yeah.
I see how your picks are lining
up.
That looks like I'm getting shot glasses.
Yeah. So okay, and then that was the first thing. The second thing is I did make one other bet, not with him. I made one with Braden. He was witness to it, so he knows that it happened. We had a running joke. He loves the Pirates. I don't hate the Pirates. Don't get me wrong. I just know they suck.
They're just garbage.
I just know they suck.
You have Josh Bell, and honestly, that's about it.
And he was bad this year, so it wasn't helping them. They had some great pitching, though. I was very impressed with their pitching. I made a bet with 5 games left in the season to him that if they won 20 games, then I would buy him a coffee, just one coffee, right? Because it's just a minor bet.
And we're Canadian, so coffee is key to life.
Yeah, exactly, right? So we made that bet, and the caveat with that was that they only won 16 games in 55, so 5 games left. They needed to win 4. It got really stressful because they won.
They started playing good.
Yeah, they won. I think they won 3 straight, and then they lost the last 2 or something like that.
Came down to literally the last game.
It was the last game, and they were winning for a good bit. It was 6-2 or something like that. And then, thank gosh for Cleveland. That's also why I bet on them earlier, because they decided to go into Pound Town against them, and they won by 3.
Probably threw you off, being the Pirates.
Yeah.
A little misdirection of them coming in. And a little background on this kid. You do not want to lose a bet to Braden because he will never let it down.
No.
Even if it's just a coffee, for the next year, he'll just bring, oh, you remember when I got that coffee?
Oh,
this game was actually quite stressful.
It was very stressful. I was very worried that I was going to, lose a bet to someone who, and he doesn't follow baseball as much as I do, and I felt very strong about it, especially because, the Pirates were facing Cleveland for 3 games, and then they were facing, I don't even know who they were facing, to be honest. I don't. But it had to be pretty much a winning team because 7 teams in the NL. Oh wait, no, I think they were facing the Royals. Nonetheless, doesn't really matter. I ended up winning that one, so now I get a free coffee, and he gets 4. So
it's pretty nice.
Okay, so now on to the actual the division series, and where I get to go first. I'll pick the series, and then he picks in that series as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start off by doing the A's and Astros.
Oh wow!
Okay. That's going to be my series first, and I'm definitely going to say that the A's are going to win in 4. That's my bet. And just letting you know, I'm keeping track on this. You definitely can't see it because it's bright, but I'm writing it down on this. So I think A's in 4.
Sure. Do they have their buzzers out this game or what?
I'm going
to kick the trash can every so often. I don't know. A's in 4. That's actually a good bet.
I felt that one. It felt right.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. The White Sox played so good against the A's. I don't know if I should be optimistic on the Astros here. I don't know. This is tough. I don't like this at all.
It is tough.
A's in 4 is an excellent guess. I'm gonna go Astros in 4.
You really think Astros in 4, huh?
Yeah, I think so. This is a pure instinct guess. My instincts are probably way off on this one. The A's are quite good, and the Astros are not. This is a tough series anyways. I'm just going to throw something out there. This is just fishing for points.
Oh, yeah. And
especially because I get to pick the next series.
The thing I worry about as well is for the A's, this is the only downside, is Matt Chapman's out. Not that he didn't have a great year, but he's out for the season,
Right.
So they're missing their key player.
All right, let's have a look here.
So you got Braves, Marlins, Dodgers, Padres, and Rays, Yankees.
Okay.
All hard series. Well, not all hard series.
No, so I'm a big Dodgers fan in the NL. I'm going to go Dodgers and Padres. I got the Dodgers winning. In 4 or 5, I don't know, though, because the Padres played excellent. I'm going to take Dodgers in 4.
You're going to take Dodgers in 4?
Yeah.
I'm going to take a hot take. I'm going to say Padres in 5. No, listen, don't get me wrong. I want the Dodgers to win. I want them to win so
That's
bad.
why you picked the Padres, because with your luck, it'll probably reverse.
Yeah,
I got that. I got that.
Right, right. So it's unfortunate, but I do see, and it's not, you can't say it's an upset because the Padres were like the second best team. I mean, they didn't have the second most wins, the Rays did, but to me, they're the second best team. They definitely showed as if they were a second best team.
For sure.
So it was, you said Dodgers in 4, and I said Padres in 5.
So that's a guess and a half, I have to say.
Yeah.
I guess that makes up for my Astros guess. So.
Yeah, well.
I think you have a bit more luck with that one, though. I'm really fishing for a point there.
Yeah, I'm worried. I'm worried about mine, but I feel like that series is going to go at least. It's going to be 5, I feel, either way. I guess I'll choose the easiest one, and we'll leave the hardest one for last. I'm going to take the Braves and Marlins.
Okay.
I want to be hopeful, but I really, really am not feeling that. I'm not feeling hopeful at all. I'm going to start off by saying I don't think that any team's going to win in 3. I don't think.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't think any of these is going to be a sweep. It's too tight for most of them. This one would probably be the one that would be closest to a sweep, but I still don't think it will. I'm going to say Braves in 4. I'm going to say Braves in 4.
That hurts. I like that guess a lot.
Yeah, it just feels right. All right, so for you.
Okay, so Braves obviously, and it's 3 or 5. I literally just said I don't think any series is going to sweep. I don't think that there's going to be any sweeps. I'm going to say 3, only because I think it'll be closer to happening. Okay, so I guess 4 is dead center. It's not like it's a best of 7 where I can really venture out.
Yeah,
and pick
4, 5, 6, 7.
So regardless if I pick 3 or 5, I genuinely believe it'll be a 4. But I think maybe it's a bit more chance for a sweep. I don't know.
You think there's a bit more chance? So
rather than going
3?
5. Yeah, I think it's better guess.
All right. So now it's you on the Rays and Yankees series.
I don't even want to guess on this one.
It's upsetting because I see it as the Rays are they are kind of even. I think they're the most consistent team, as we've been saying, consistency. But is that enough? Because they're not consistently superstar. They're just consistently average to above average.
Whereas the Yankees can be awful.
We've seen it before.
Fantastic. Or they can be amazing. So it's
what kind of series are we going to have?
But, the key to the show is consistency. I think I want the Rays.
You want the Rays? And what in?
It's not going to be 3. That's a guarantee. Yankees are going to win games.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I don't know if I should pluralize it, but they'll definitely win 1 game. 4 or 5 is honestly.
I'm going to quote you on that. That the Yankees are going to win games.
Okay. Nope, I don't want to be quoted on that at all. That's not on the record. I'm thinking in 4.
In 4?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a total. There's going to be games going to 5. There's going to be series going to 5 games.
And
I'm just not willing to venture out and pick that one. The series that's going to happen. I think you are, though.
There's only one series, and I'm not going to continue that trend. I was the only one that picked a thing in 5, and that was the Padres. I'm not doing anybody in 5. I think it'll be the Yankees in 4.
Wow.
Because like we said, it feels like it's an even series.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say. The fact that we don't think that it's so even that somebody's going to win 3 games before another team wins even 2. definitely makes it look like we don't think it's fully even, but I assure you, it does feel very even.
Yeah, I don't think the rankings really. I don't think they justify how close these teams are. The Yankees have some serious talent on their team, assuming they stay healthy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's kind of the Yankee trend. Is I find it's where good players go to die. See tons of players going there and they just die off. You don't hear about them anymore. Like Edwin Encarnacion. Do you hear about that guy anymore?
No.
Where is he?
Well, okay. He got signed for 1 year, $12 million, because he had a fantastic year with the. He was with the Mariners for a little bit. Then he went to he's a journeyman now. It's sad because he was fantastic. And then he went to the White Sox,
right,
where he did trash this year. So I don't know that he's going to have much of a contract. He's getting older. I think he's 38.
That's where the Yankees where players go to die. You don't hear about him anymore. Like Giancarlo Stanton was such a big face. I got the pleasure to see him in Cincinnati against the Reds. It was Votto versus Stanton, one of the best games I've ever seen. And Stanton, he is really cool to see in person. I think with his figure being like so big, it doesn't do justice.
No,
like you have to compare him to Judge. They're both so similar. That it's so cool. It doesn't do justice TV or anything to see how big Stanton is. And I hate to say it, but I think the Yankees just ruined his career. Even though injuries cannot be controlled by which team, I think it's just a vibe that when you go to New York, it's like your career is ending.
But the thing, and I get why they go there though, not just because of the money, but it's a great market. It's a
prestigious team
and a fantastic market. They got all the. They got the publicity there. They got they got all the fans.
They have the history. I think any baseball fan, if you're going to any ballpark and you got ballparks on your list, number one, probably Fenway. I think number 1 or 2. There are some serious ballparks up there. I think Fenway is definitely up there, just kind of purely because of the monster. And then Yankee Stadium is I would say super high.
It's super high.
Wrigley Field, obviously, the historical
Great
stadiums.
American.
Right. There's some really good fields up there. But I think the Yankee Stadium, just walking into a diamond and just kind of opening up and seeing it, it's just like a whole new level. And I think a lot of players gravitate towards that.
A lot of the AL East stadiums are really, really nice. The only one that I'd say I'm not huge on is, like I said before, Tropicana Field.
Okay, that's just garbage.
It's easily one of the worst, but then, the other 4 are, I'd say,
they're all
above
unique.
average.
They're all unique.
I love seeing the Yankee Stadium. It's a fun one to watch. The only thing I don't like is the right side, the right field, a little too short.
Yeah.
But I mean, what can you do, right? Fenway's fantastic. Camden Yard, oh my gosh, I love Camden Yard. It's fun. It's fun to watch any game there.
Yeah.
Even the Rogers Center, I would say it's probably the lowest out of those 4, just because it's.
So baseball is okay. It hurts to say this. Baseball is America's game. We have hockey, but baseball, there's nothing better than going to an American ballpark, getting that American kind of feel. That's their pastime. That's that's their thing. I don't think that the Rogers Center really has to offer that. Being I can't speak for you, but I'm just assuming you've been to quite a few games there.
Yeah, I've been a fair amount.
Yeah, so have I, and it's it's super cool. It's definitely different. It's very blue. I find it's overwhelming
and
overwhelmingly blue. They got the hotel right in the outfield. I don't think any other stadium has that.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure.
And then the whole retracting roof. That's cool. CN Tower looking. It has so many cool features. It's just missing that vibe.
It feels basic to me. Basics, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not basic, but it is basic. It's weird. It has so many cool elements.
The field itself is basic to me because it's like they used a ruler. They made it so that it's because if you look, like we were talking about earlier, all the different fields are, you got different dimensions. Like I said there just a minute ago, the Yankees right field, it's really close in. The Boston left field is very high up, so it ends up being almost
variation.
Yeah, right. The Rogers Center is even. It's exactly even.
Yeah.
It's symmetrical, all that kind of stuff, and not that it ruins the game. It just makes it so that it's, I don't know.
It's just boring. It's not oh man, we're going in, these lefties are really going to dominate hitting to a shortened side, or righties, or being a pitcher's ballpark. It's very neutral. It doesn't have its variation. The elements of the stadium are different, and it's cool, but the actual field I believe it's AstroTurf too.
Yeah.
So there's no you can't even get your how the field looks, like your lawn cuts.
Yeah.
It's just simple.
Yeah.
I've always been an advocate for grass. I think turf is cool. It makes everything even, but the grass almost brings a humanity aspect to it that there's going to be weird bounces. There's going to be these odd things. And I think that's part of the game.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? I think that's I don't think there's too many teams that have the AstroTurf, and I think it's for that kind of reason. Is that the players like the feel better. It makes it more kind of interesting just to see, because sometimes the ball can hop differently on that.
For sure.
It makes it better, I think, just by that little bit.
Yeah, I agree. What else did you want to talk about?
We were going to talk about the different, not award winners, what's it called? Like the batting title and the home run.
Right, DJ LeMahieu. Okay, when was the last? I don't think this has happened in the modern era where you win the batting title in both the AL and the NL. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it was back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So not the modern era of baseball.
Yeah, not even close. Definitely dead ball.
Yeah, literally. Where this ever happened, and LeMahieu won back in 2016 with the Rockies.
Yeah. Rockies.
He won it this year with the what's his team? The Yankees, I believe.
Yankees. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
Yep. Yankees.
The Yankees. Where all the good players go to die. No, he won it this year, and I think he's well deserving of it. He played excellent. And then in the NL, it was Juan Soto, then runner-up Freddie Freeman.
He was pretty close.
I believe it was only maybe 10.01 off of each other. So
you know what I'm upset about? I am very upset that for the first 3 weeks of the season, we were talking about how Blackmon was going to hit that 400. Somebody was going to hit that 400, and he was going to do
nobody.
Because he had a 500 average, but then for the rest of the season, he went 220 or something like that. He did terrible for the last it wasn't it was a super long streak anyway. I don't think it was even a month.
No.
But
it kills
them. Still, come on. That would have been really cool. After 20 games or something.
Yeah, even with the shortened season, it's you're a third of the season. Come on, someone hit 400. Make it a little entertaining.
Yeah, and nobody did it. Not even close.
Unfortunate.
It was I think it was 40 points off was the closest. And that, that takes, I don't know. After 200 at bats, that's 20 hits.
Yeah,
so
whatever. We're not math people.
No, it doesn't really matter that much, right? Right? Nobody cares that much.
Regardless, no one hit 400. We're sad about it. I think LeMahieu was 3.
I think he had 360.
Did he have 360? Okay, because Juan Soto was 351, and then Freddie Freeman I think was 340 something, and then was it Tim Anderson?
He was in the race. He was in the race.
I think he was 330 something. Nothing really standing out. I think the only thing that stood out was just LeMahieu winning both the AL and the NL. Yeah,
that award was pretty. It was pretty basic. I guess it kind of puts highlights on Juan Soto. Although everybody's so hot on Juan Soto, everybody loves him. I can't say I'm huge on him. It's I think there's two things to it. I think his play is not basic, but it's kind of. I don't think it's going to last long. I think it's gonna die out pretty fast because he doesn't feel like one of those guys that can. Obviously, this is just a feel. This is not reality. But he feels like he's not going to last this strong. He's going to get a contract and then he's going to bomb or something like that. And then his attitude. I'm not huge on his attitude. He may to me he just looks like a really cocky guy who is super full of himself. And I'm not into that when it comes to baseball. I'm more not modest. I don't need modest, but excited for the game, have fun. Don't be an ass,
Yeah.
He just kind of feels like that.
Yeah, no, he definitely gives off that type of vibe. He's gonna be good. Longevity, I don't know how it stands. When you play that type of game, it gets boring. Juan Soto, I think it's just kind of his name. His name it just sticks out. Like Ronald Acuna, I'm a big Acuna fan. I love his game. I love his emotion towards it.
Yeah.
He is going to be good. Juan Soto, though, I do like him. But again, the attitude, not a huge fan of. I like you said, emotion. That's all part of the game. That's what makes baseball fun.
Like Tatis and Acuna, they both they're around the same age, and people are all loving the three of them. They're in each. Actually, the two of them are in the NL East, but they all are exciting to watch. Juan Soto just has a different attitude compared to them. Like they have fun. They're all happy-go-lucky and they're fun. They're
just happy to be there and they're just soaking it in. Honestly, like any young player should. Like for any young player that's getting into the league with that caliber, I think Juan Soto is just looking for a paycheck and then dipping.
It doesn't feel right. I don't know. Obviously, this is just a weird intuition. It could be completely wrong. He could actually be like one of the nicest guys or something. Obviously, nobody's ever really read anything into it, but I don't know. Anyway,
it's all vibe.
Yeah, it's all vibe.
Angels firing Billy Epler.
Good choice. I think they
was it 6 losing seasons or something, not making the playoffs.
Yeah, something like I think it was since 2014 or something.
Yeah, like that. Sucks. Yeah.
Oh, it's upsetting, man.
You have a team with you actually have talent.
Not enough, I might say, but
no, you do have your key players, and so what I'm saying is that you have your talent, right? Yeah. You need to build around it. You can't rely on Upton to carry your team. You got to get having a player like Pujols is to putting players on so he can hit a ball deep and cash in runs.
Yeah.
Even if he just skies one to left, like tagging up at third. Yeah, like you're not moving anybody so you can't get anyone on base. I found that Simmons, he did contribute to that. He did get on base. Upton, he was decent, but you gotta have surrounding players. You can't carry a team through like 2 players.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, yeah, you got Trout and Rendon. They're 2 fantastic players. I think Rendon had a bit of an off season. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure he had a bit of an off season.
Trout was playing good this year.
Yeah,
he had a good back half.
I thought his front half was a little better after he had his kid. He went into dad mode, which was, oh my gosh, that was like the best week of baseball. It was fantastic. And then not that he trailed off, but he got not worse. You want to open the door?
Sure.
We have a little dog, and he likes to roam free a little bit too much. Okay.
He's gone now.
Yes. What was it? What was I saying?
Trout.
Oh yeah, so Trout. And then I think it was that week he was super strong, and then he had another like 2 weeks where he looked like he was like the MVP winner, and then he kind of trailed off a little bit. And then so now obviously I don't think he's going to be in the MVP.
I don't think that trailing off though. Okay, for the MVP, yes, trailing off. Like once again, if you trail off a little bit, that's any player. No one player is perfect the whole way through.
Exactly.
Overall, I think Mike Trout had a good season. Nothing great, but definitely a solid season. He definitely contributed to their team quite well. Like we said, though, like you need to have players surrounding like Pujols, Upton, well, obviously Trout because he's amazing, but like you can't have those through like 1, 2, 3, and then not have anyone else to the rest of the order.
And then I think a big thing that they need to do, and this is going to be the struggle for them, is they need maybe 1 or 2 more years to finish rebuilding, just because they need to get rid of contracts like. Pujols is finishing. They need to get Upton gone. And I think their contracts are ending in like a year each or less. I can't remember. And they're a lot of money. Yeah. And they need pitching. Heaney isn't enough. Bundy had a fantastic year. He was like the AL Cy Young. I thought he was the winner up until Bieber decided to destroy the world. He was definitely like, for me, he was my front runner. But then he kind of trailed. Not that he trailed off, just Bieber went, he went ham.
He literally did. Except for the postseason, I found it a little disappointing.
Yeah, that was very disappointing. I'm upset about that too. But and then for the pitching, all the pitching bests, he won the Triple Crown, which was impressive. Although I gotta say, I feel like the Triple Crown should be changed a little bit because I feel like wins isn't really a good one to.
Wins isn't dictated just by you though. It's all your team surrounding you.
Yeah, it's kind of
you could pick a 1-run game and you literally just won and still lose.
Yeah,
it's very dependent. I don't know. I don't like the wins aspect to it either.
No, because like I like the ERA idea.
Yep.
Like that. Even though it's not the most, again, it's not the most indicative stat.
Well, yeah, cause it's so dependent on your fielding too. Air costs like you saw the Jays. It was a Bichette let one through, and they hit it like
Grand slam.
Yeah, grand slam. You had 4 runs, and it was a 2 out, and that's not reflected on the pitcher.
No.
Luckily,
those weren't earned runs.
Yeah.
He only ended up earning, I think, 3 of those 7 runs.
But still, though, like it's stuff like that where it's like not completely dictated by you. Like, your pitching stats should be by you, you know.
And then the third one I think which is strikeouts.
That's all you and the catchers.
And you know what? It wasn't hard to tell that he was going to win that one.
Yeah.
I mean, and then in the NL, it was kind of impressive because there was like a 3-way race. It was Bauer, DeGrom, and Darvish. This is something I got to ask you now because now that the season's done, who do you think's going to win the Cy Young?
Okay, well, I can't say Darvish anymore.
Now, why is that?
Well, because he's not as good as I thought he would be. You know, oh man.
I'm feeling Bauer personally. He had the best ERA.
Only because DeGrom, like, he's still great. I think Bauer, you know, we still continue to see him shine.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously it doesn't count, but look at his postseason run. Like,
I think postseason does definitely influence though.
I could get how it definitely influences, but I think one thing, if they want to take that out of it, is they need to vote for it as the season ends. Like on the last day or something like that.
I'm saying that like influence when you go to like judge it and whatever.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It definitely leaves a little mark on you.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, it feels kind of weird choosing, say, Bieber, even though he definitely was the best during the year.
Yeah, that's why it feels wrong almost to pick Bieber after that performance.
But I mean,
he was definitely the best in the AL.
You still pick him, right?
Yeah, it's just a weird kind of like mark you lose.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd probably go Bauer too, though.
I DeGrom, I don't think deserved it. Like, he was in contention until his last start, and then that was a garbage start. Well, not garbage. Okay, he let 2 home runs, but those were big home runs for him.
That's for a shortened season. That is considered garbage.
Yeah, that is pretty garbage.
Especially in this close race, you cannot be giving that. Like,
no,
maybe 1 home run is justified. Even that's almost outrageous to say. You can only let up 1 home run. Like, that's crazy. But like,
it's crazy.
It's such a close race. You know, it has to.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's between Darvish and Bauer. Definitely, it's only them. There were other people that, had they not gotten, say, injured, or if they had some other strengths coming in, then they definitely would have won. For example, Max Fried, he was fantastic for the Braves for all the time that he pitched, but he got injured. Dinelson Lamet, he was fantastic, got injured. You know, there was a bunch of great pitchers in the NL this year. Even Kershaw, like, you know, we act as if he's so old, but
he's not.
He's like, what, 32, 33 or something? He's younger than like Scherzer, and we still think he's like Scherzer.
Scherzer amazing.
he had a bad year this year, which is crazy.
Once again, consistency. But, you know, once again, going back to Kershaw, like, you look at him and you judge him by, you know, his postseason, which, you know, justifiable. But like, Scherzer didn't have a good year.
No.
You know, he went back to back. Oh man, there's some award he was doing well on.
He had a couple Cy Youngs in a row. He had
a couple back-to-back Cy Youngs and some strikeout titles. But Scherzer's excellent. You know, like 1 year, I don't think justifies. You know, if he's having a next year, he also has a bad year. Then we start to talk about it. I don't think anyone should really be judged too heavily on the shortened season, considering most of these players only get like maybe 6-7 starts. I think the playoffs for a lot of players are really going to tell. You know, if playoff Kershaw is back, then man, we're in for an exciting playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. I'm really looking forward to the rest of this postseason. I don't know. I can't really decide who I think, like, say, whatever teams win, unless it's one of those teams where you, like, say the Marlins or the Astros. Those are the 2 teams that I think are, like, you got your top 6, and then those are just like a small.
The slip-ins?
Yeah, sure. Or maybe they were good.
Hey, I got the Astros in 4, so I mean,
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I don't think it'll be easy for anybody to decide who's going to win the next ones, because, like, you know, you look at the Rays and Yankees. We already had a hard enough time with that one. And say the A's win and it's A's versus Yankees or A's versus Rays, that's going to be so difficult to decide. Yeah. And then it's Braves versus Padres, like, if the Braves win, right? Which I feel like is a when they win, but I don't
think Miami is gonna.
We won't assume until it happens, but you know, say it was the Braves versus.
Next round is gonna be horrible.
And then it's Braves versus Padres or Dodgers, which is upsetting because I feel like the two best teams, it should have been the Braves versus Padres, or not Braves versus Padres, Dodgers versus Padres in the final game before the World Series. But, whatever team faces the Braves, it's still going to be, incredibly hard to decide because they're all incredible teams. Final thing to talk about before we head out. What do you think of the idea of, at least in Texas, they're having fans, 11,500 fans per game?
Wow. Okay. So I don't know the corona number of cases in Texas, but I know as a general number in the States, it is not good. In comparison to, us Canada, where I think everyone is going through a second wave right now. 11,000 fans. How many fans does the Rangers or in Texas hold?
I'm going to guess maybe around 50,000. Here, let's use good old Siri.
There you go.
How many fans does the Globe Life Field hold?
If Siri works. And it just takes us right to the internet. But anyways, man, I want to see fans come back. I was watching a college football game last night. It was Alabama and who were they playing? I can't remember. They're just blowing them out though. And there was fans there. It was like, oh man, this feels normal again. I love it.
Here you go.
You got the numbers?
I got it. How many? 40,300, which means that they're going about quarter capacity.
Okay, so man, I don't know the regulations behind it. Are they spreading out? Masks are definitely not mandatory. There's no way. Especially in the States. I love to see fans coming back. I miss it so much.
But I don't think it's the time.
No, not okay. The winter is flu season. By all means, I'm not a doctor, but the winter is flu season. So you're going to have the spread of cases anyways. The germs are going around.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
People are being sick. It's not the time to start. If you're going to start bringing fans in, do it in the spring where you're starting up baseball again. Maybe for season opener next year is when you start bringing fans back.
Yeah.
I think that would be a better tone to start the season even. It'd be more optimistic. Not to mention with other sports starting in the beginning of next year. I think that's when you should bring it in, especially when flu season dies off. By all means, I'm not an expert on, the illnesses and stuff, but I think everyone can conclude that, the sickness does happen in the winter. It's called flu season for a reason. And I know Texas, they're not necessarily cold, but it's still, it's colder. And in the north, you still gonna have sickness. Sickness doesn't stay there. It spreads. And you got people all in one country. It's going to spread to Texas regardless.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they should wait until spring.
Yeah, I agree. I actually don't really have to say anything because you know what? I agree with all that stuff. That's basically what I feel about it too. I don't see any need for them to bring fans now.
I miss it, but I mean, there's a time and a place. I want to be able to go back to games soon. And if it means we hold off, I've been saying it all year, it means we hold off, a bit longer. All right. I don't have a problem wearing a mask, going into a workplace or whatever. That doesn't bother me because if it means that, it's going to speed everything up, let's just do it. You're not just struggling. We are too. Everyone is.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah. Well, all right. We're going to head out. If you guys want to add in any comments about, what improvements we think we should, you think we should make.
Or questions for next week, whatever you want to know.
Questions for next week. We will 100% read it, and we will comment on it. We won't just hide in the comments and then just type it to you or whatever. We'll actually address it.
For sure.
But other than that, I mean.
See you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.